Hello students, welcome to MJC Learning. In today's video, we are going to discuss the subject Secretarial Practice for Standard 12th. And also, today we'll learn a new chapter that is Correspondence with Depositors. The letter we are going to study is Payment of Interest on Fixed Deposit. So students, before we start with the letter writing, let us recap with the layout of business letter. Layout of business letter. Student, this is the layout of business letter. Layout, it means format. So this is the format of the letter. According to this format, you have to write the letter. As you all can see, student, on the top, in the middle of the letter, there is a letterhead. We can also say it head address. Here, this head address, it contains the name and address of the company. Yes, student, whenever you are writing the letter, you have to start, that means you have to start writing with the company's name and with the company's address, which will come on the top of the letter. After that, the next layout part is date. Remember, student, without date, a letter is said to be incomplete. So date, it is very important. Date, you will write on the right hand side of the letter, that is after the head address. After date, on the left hand side of the letter, you have to mention inside address. Inside address, it contains the name and address of that person whom you are writing the letter. In simple term, it is the name and address of the receiver who is going to receive this letter. That person, his or her name and address will be mentioned here, which is said to be inside address, and it will come on the left hand side of the letter. Down, that is below inside address, there is salutation. Salutation, it means greetings. It greetings in simple term, you have to mention here, you have to start the letter with respected dear sir, madam. After the salutation, you will start with the body of the letter. Body of the letter, it means it contains what is the letter all about. In simple term, here you will write in detail, you will explain the letter, why you are writing this letter, so that it is said to be body of the letter. After writing the letter, you have to close the letter by thanking you, which will come on the left hand side of the letter. After thanking you, you will close the letter with a complimentary clause. Complimentary clause, it contains the company's name with the secretary's signature. Student, according to this format, you have to write the letter. Also, student, remember one thing. If you are writing the layout, but you are not writing the body of the letter, means you are writing company's name, address, date, receiver's address, complimentary clause, signature, everything you are writing, but you are not writing this, that is body of the letter. So according to the board pattern, you will be not eligible to get a single marks. That means body of the letter is important to write. So moving ahead, let's start with the first letter which company is writing to the member. The very first letter which we are going to study The subject is payment of interest on fixed deposit. Students, as you all know, deposit is a borrowed capital. Depositors gets interest as a return on their investment of money in deposit. Thus, this letter is sent by a company to the depositor when interest on deposit becomes due. So students, in this letter, the company secretary gives detailed information about payment of interest such as amount of deposit, rate of interest on deposit, gross amount of interest, etc. Always remember students, the company pays interest through interest warrant or electronically. And in this letter, the company secretary gives detailed information about payment of interest through interest warrant. So, let us study in detail what secretary is informing on behalf of company to the depositor regarding payment of interest on fixed deposit through interest warrant. As you all can see student, on the top of the letter, the company's name and address is mentioned. And on the right hand side, date is written on which day the secretary has written this letter, that is 20th July 2019. And you can see on the left hand side of the letter, the receiver's, that is the depositor's name and address is mentioned. And the subject of this letter is payment of interest on fixed deposit. Here, secretary is writing, Dear Madam, I am instructed by the Board of Directors to inform you that the interest at the rate 10% on your fixed deposit approved by the board has become due. We are enclosing means attaching herewith interest warrant number 3345 dated for 25th July 2019 drawn on Axis Bank Borivali branch for rupees 2500. Your company has complied means completed, with all the provisions relating to payment of interest on deposit. So students, in first and second paragraph, secretary is writing, she is informing, Dear Madam, ये लेटर मैं कंपनी के बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स की तरफ से लिखकर आपको ये इन्फॉर्म करना चाहती हूँ, आपके फिक्स डिपॉजिट पे जो 10% के रेट से इंटरेस्ट है वो अभी हमारी कंपनी आपको पे करने वाले है। मैडम, ये लेटर के साथ हमने आपको ₹2500 जो 25 जुलाई 2019 हैज़ अ इंटरेस्ट वारंट के ज़रिए जिसका नंबर है 3345 जो एक्सिस बैंक बोरीली ब्रांच का है वो हम आपको भेज रहे हैं इस लेटर के साथ। हमारी कंपनी ने सारा प्रोविजंस दैट इज रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस जो पेमेंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ऑन फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट के लिए है वो सारा हमारी कंपनी ने कंप्लीट कर दिया है। The details of fixed deposit are given below. So student, as you all can see in this box, the very first box, that is the number 1, it contains the interest warrant number which is 3345. The second, it contains the fixed deposit receipt number, that is 2032. And third box, it contains the fixed deposit amount that the receiver has deposited in the company, that is 25,000, and on that the company is paying her 10% interest. So you can see in the fourth box there the rate of interest is mentioned, that is 10%. So 25,000, 10% at the rate 10%. So the gross amount of interest she is getting from the company is rupees 2,500, and on that TDS, that is tax deducted at source, is nothing deducted, so it is nil. So the total, that is net amount of interest that is payable, that is 2,500. Second last paragraph, secretary is writing, interest warrant is enclosed herewith. Please detach the interest warrant along the perforated line. Thanking you, yours faithfully, company secretary. Student, in the second last and last paragraph, secretary is telling, with this letter we have enclosed. Enclosed means attached. Interest warrant. So madam, please detach. Detach means separate that interest warrant from the perforated line. Perforated line, students, it is a line of small holes that makes paper easy to tear. For example, perforated line of admission form which is attached to your prospectus on the last page. So student, here you can see on the left hand side enclosure. If something is attached with this letter, so enclosure is mentioned. So with this letter, secretary is sending interest warrant. So on the left hand side enclosure, here it is written interest warrant. The second letter which we are going to study today, the subject is payment of interest on fixed deposit electronically through ECS or NEFT. Students, this letter is sent by the company to the depositor when interest on deposits becomes due. In this letter, the company secretary gives detailed information about payment of interest through electronic mode, that is through ECS or NEFT. Student, ECS, it stands for Electronic Clearing System, and NEFT, that is NEFT, it stands for National Electronic Fund Transfer. This both, that is ECS and NEFT, are types of electronic payment. So student, moving ahead, let us see in detail what secretary is informing, what secretary is writing on behalf of company to the depositor regarding payment of interest on fixed deposit through electronic mode. Dear Madam, I am instructed by the Board of Directors to convey to you that the Board has passed a resolution in the Board meeting held on 12th March 2019 to pay interest at the rate 10% on deposit for the year ending 31st March 2019. Your company has complied with all the provisions relating to payment of interest on deposit. Students, in the first and second paragraph, secretary is informing, she is writing, Dear Madam, ये लेटर मैं आपको कंपनी के बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स के तरफ से लिखकर ये इन्फॉर्म करना चाहती हूँ कि हमारे कंपनी के बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स ने 12 मार्च 2019 को बोर्ड मीटिंग कंडक्ट किया था, जहां उन्होंने रिजोल्यूशन पास करके ये डिसाइड किया है कि आपको 10% के रेट से आपके फिक्स डिपॉजिट पे इंटरेस्ट पे करेंगे फॉर द ईयर एंडिंग 31 मार्च 2019 के लिए। मैडम, हमारी कंपनी ने सारा पेमेंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ऑन डिपॉजिट से रिलेटेड प्रोविजंस दैट इज रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस कंप्लीट किया है और ये इंटरेस्ट डिक्लेयर किया है। Details of interest payable to you are as follows. So student, you can see in the box, the very first box, it contains the fixed deposit receipt number. That receipt number is 2032. Second box, it contains the deposit amount. Deposit amount that depositor has deposited in the company. That money which he or she has deposited in the company. So she has deposited 25,000. That is mentioned in the second box. Third, it contains a rate of interest. So she'll be getting interest at the rate 10%. Fourth box, it contains the gross amount of interest. So on her 25,000 at the rate 10%, she'll be getting 2,500 as the interest. Fifth box, it contains the TDS. TDS, it is tax deducted at source. So nothing has been deducted tax, so it is nil. So the total, that is net amount what she is getting from the company is going to pay interest is 2,500. Last paragraph, secretary is writing, interest will be payable by electronic transfer through ECS or NEFT by crediting said interest to your bank account as per details provided by you to the company. Thanking you, yours faithfully, company secretary. In last paragraph, she is writing, मैडम, आपके दिए गए बैंक अकाउंट के डिटेल के ज़रिए हमारी कंपनी आपके जो बैंक अकाउंट का डिटेल्स आपने हमारे कंपनी को दिया है, हम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक ट्रांसफ़र के ज़रिए दैट इज़ ECS और नेफ्ट के ज़रिए आपके दिए गए बैंक अकाउंट में इंटरेस्ट पे करेंगे। थैंकिंग यू, योर्स फेथफुली, कंपनीज सेक्रेटरी।
Thank you.